The suds slid down the car's hood. White foam curling over the cherry red paint like waves breaking on a shore. My hands, raw from the sponge's rough edge, worked in rhythmic circles, the late afternoon sun glinting off the wet surface. The garden hose hissed softly, a faint mist rising where water met heat. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a sharp vibration that cut through the monotony. I ignored it at first, focused on the satisfying streaks of clean metal emerging from the grime. Then it buzzed again, insistent, like a wasp trapped in a jar. Wiping my hands on my jeans, I pulled it out, expecting a reminder from Sarah about picking up milk or fixing the porch light. The notification wasn't from her. It was from the bank, a cold, automated alert. A charge on her credit card, $127.43 at La Rose Boutique. My thumb froze above the screen. La Rose wasn't a grocery store or a gas station. It was a lingerie shop downtown, all silk and lace, the kind of place we'd never set foot in together. My chest tightened, a dull ache spreading like spilled ink. Sarah wasn't the type for extravagance. She wore cotton bras, practical, faded from years of laundry. I stared at the phone, the suds dripping from the car now pooling at my feet, the world narrowing to that single line of text. I tried to shake it off. Maybe she was treating herself, a rare splurge. But the thought felt hollow, like a lie I was telling myself to keep from falling. I scrolled through our account history, my damp fingers smudging the screen. There it was again. Another charge 3 days ago, $89 at a wine bar I didn't recognize. We hadn't gone out for drinks in months. My breath hitched, sharp and shallow, as I pictured her there, laughing, her hand brushing someone else's over a glass of Merlot. The hose sputtered, water slowing to a trickle. I hadn't realized I'd dropped it. Inside, the house was too quiet, the kind of silence that amplifies every creak of the floorboards. Sarah was at her book club, or so she'd said, every Thursday like clockwork. I stood in the kitchen, the linoleum cool under my bare feet, and opened her laptop on the counter. My hands trembled as I typed her password. Our wedding date, a detail that now felt like a blade twisting in my gut. Her email was open, a habit she'd never broken. There, buried among spam and work messages, was a confirmation from La Rose, timestamped today. Thank you for your purchase, Sarah. We hope you enjoy your intimate apparel. Intimate. The word burned, conjuring images I didn't want to see. Her slipping into something delicate, her skin catching the soft glow of a stranger's bedroom. I clicked through her calendar next, my pulse hammering in my ears. Book club, book club, book club. Every Thursday for months, but last week's entry had a different address, a hotel downtown. My knees buckled and I gripped the counter, the edge biting into my palms. The room spun, the air thick with the scent of dish soap and betrayal. I wanted to call her, to scream, to demand answers, but my voice felt trapped, a lump lodged in my throat. Instead, I texted her. Everything okay at book club? Casual, neutral, a test. The 3 dots appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. All good, she replied, followed by a smiley face. That fucking smiley face. It was too bright, too carefree, like she was mocking me from across the city. I imagined her typing it, her fingers quick and guiltless, maybe sitting across from him, whoever he was. The next hour blurred. I paced the living room, the carpet worn thin under my steps. Memories clawed at me, her laugh at our wedding, the way she'd curl into me on the couch, her cold feet pressed against my legs. Had it all been a lie? I thought of the late nights she'd blamed on work, the new perfume she'd started wearing, sharp and floral, nothing like the soft vanilla she used to love. Each detail was a splinter, embedding deeper the more I turned them over. But part of me clung to doubt, desperate to believe there was an explanation. Something innocent to stitch this unraveling seam back together. When her car pulled into the driveway, the headlights cut through the dusk like an accusation. I stood by the sink, pretending to wash dishes, my heart a drumbeat in my chest. She walked in, her purse slung over her shoulder, her face flushed from the cool evening air. Hey babe, she said, her voice light, almost too light. She kicked off her shoes, the sound of them hitting the floor like gunshots in my ears. I forced a smile, my lips tight, and asked how book club was. Oh, you know, same old, she said, tossing her keys onto the counter. Her eyes flicked away, just for a second, but it was enough. A crack in her armor. We're reading that new thriller. Everyone's obsessed. She moved to the fridge, pulling out a bottle of water, her movements too deliberate, like she was performing normalcy. I watched her, searching for the woman I'd married. The one who'd cried when we lost our dog, who'd painted our bedroom walls with me at midnight, laughing until we were dizzy with fumes. Did you stop anywhere after? I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Her hand paused on the bottle, a fraction of a second too long. Just grabbed coffee with Lisa, she said, naming her friend from the club. But Lisa had posted on X an hour ago, a photo of her kids at a soccer game. My stomach churned, bow rising. I wanted to grab her, shake her, demand the truth, but instead I nodded, my jaw clenched so tight it ached. That night, I couldn't sleep. Sarah lay beside me, her breathing even, her body a familiar shape under the blankets. I stared at the ceiling, the shadows shifting like ghosts. My phone glowed on the nightstand, tempting me to dig deeper, to find the proof that would shatter this fragile limbo. I resisted, but by morning, I was hollow, my eyes gritty with exhaustion. She kissed me goodbye before work, her lips soft but distant, like a memory fading. I called in sick and drove to the hotel from her calendar. The lobby was all glass and marble, cold and impersonal. The clerk, a young guy with a bored expression, confirmed a reservation under her name last week. Was she alone? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He shrugged, citing privacy, but his eyes held a flicker of pity. I left, the weight of it crushing me, and sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. Back home, I found her scarf on the couch, the one she'd worn to book club. It smelled of that new perfume, but beneath it something else, cologne, sharp and masculine. My vision blurred, tears burning as I clutched the fabric. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was a noose tightening around my heart. I thought of confronting her, of laying out every damning detail, but what would it change? The love I'd built my life around was crumbling, and I was too broken to know if I wanted to salvage the pieces or burn them. That evening, she came home late, her hair slightly mussed, her smile strained. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Sarah, I said, my voice low, trembling with the weight of everything I'd found. She froze, her purse halfway to the counter, her eyes wide like a deer caught in headlights. What's La Rose Boutique? I asked, each word a shard of glass. Her face crumpled, not in guilt but in something worse, defiance. You went through my things? She shot back, her voice sharp, cutting through the air. It wasn't a denial, and that was the moment I knew. The room tilted, the walls closing in. I waited for her to explain, to lie, to beg, but she just stood there, her silence louder than any confession. I trusted you, I whispered, my voice breaking. She looked away, her jaw tight, and in that moment, I saw her not as my wife but as a stranger, someone who'd chosen to unravel us. The truth hung between us, heavy and undeniable, but it wasn't the betrayal that broke me. It was the realization that I'd been loving a ghost, a version of her that no longer existed. And as she turned to walk away, her footsteps echoing in the quiet house, I knew the real twist. I wasn't sure if I could let her go even now.